I trusted my best friend more than anyone in my life. That's why I didn't panic when I came home early that day. I didn't panic until I saw the shoes. Men's shoes. By my front door. They weren't mine. I recognized them instantly because my best friend wore them every day. For a few seconds, I just stood there, hoping I was wrong. Hoping there was a normal explanation. Then I heard laughter upstairs. And in that moment, I realized something was about to end forever. I met my best friend Mark when we were 15. We grew up on the same street. Same school. Same mistakes. Same dreams. When my parents divorced, Mark's family let me stay over for weeks. When his father died, I was the one standing next to him at the funeral. That kind of bond doesn't fade. Years later, when I met Emily, Mark was the first person I told. He smiled and said, "If she makes you happy, I trust her." When I married Emily, Mark stood beside me at the altar. He raised his glass and said, "You found the one, brother." For 7 years, my marriage felt stable. Quiet. Predictable. Safe. Emily worked from home as a freelance designer. I ran a small logistics company and usually came back late. Mark stopped by often, sometimes to help with repairs, sometimes just to drink coffee. I never questioned it. I trusted them both. That Thursday, a client canceled a meeting. For the first time in months, I came home early. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Emily's car was in the driveway. But when I stepped inside, something felt off. The shoes were still there. Brown leather. Slightly worn. Not mine. Mark's. My chest tightened. My mind tried to save me with excuses. Maybe he just stopped by. Maybe I was overthinking. Then I heard laughter again. Emily's laugh. Followed by his. I didn't rush upstairs. I didn't shout. I stood there, staring at those shoes like they were evidence at a crime scene. Footsteps. Emily appeared at the top of the stairs, wrapped in a blanket. Her face went pale. She didn't say my name. She whispered, "Why are you home?" Mark stepped out behind her. Barefoot. Shirtless. Avoiding my eyes. I didn't scream. I didn't hit him. I asked him to leave. Calmly. He tried to explain, but I stopped him with one sentence. Get dressed. Go. He left through the back door. Emily collapsed on the stairs. She cried. Said it was a mistake. Said she was lonely. Said it didn't mean anything. I listened. That night, I didn't sleep. I replayed every moment. Every dinner. Every smile. Every time Mark sat on my couch like he belonged there. Over the next week, I pretended everything was normal. Emily believed I was trying to forgive her. She cooked my favorite meals. touched my arm more often. Mark sent messages. Long ones. Emotional ones. I never replied. Inside me, something had already shut down. I began noticing things I'd ignored before. Deleted messages. Late-night work calls. Moments when Emily avoided my eyes whenever Mark's name came up. I gathered proof. Not for revenge. For clarity. 2 weeks later, I invited both of them over. Together. Emily thought it was a dinner to heal. Mark thought it was a chance to apologize. They sat across from each other at my table, silent. I placed my phone in the middle. Messages. Photos. Dates. The truth. Mark tried to speak. Emily cried. I stood up and said, "You didn't just betray my marriage. You erased yourselves from my life." I walked out of my own house that night. 6 months later, the divorce was final. Mark and Emily tried to stay together. It didn't last. Relationships built on betrayal don't survive reality. Today, I live in another city. Different job. Different people. Sometimes, when I come home early, I still think about those shoes. One small detail. One moment. That's all it took to see the truth. And if this story feels familiar, if something inside you tightened while listening, don't ignore it. Trust is powerful. But blind trust is dangerous. Cheating rarely starts with hate. It starts with comfort. With silence. With things we choose not to question. You don't need to become paranoid. You don't need to accuse without proof. But you do need to listen to yourself. Because when the truth shows up, it's usually quiet. And once you see it, staying is no longer loyalty. It's self-betrayal. So protect your dignity. Protect your peace. And remember, walking away from betrayal is not weakness. It's strength. Sometimes I still catch myself wondering, how did I miss all the signs? Was I blind because I wanted to believe? Or was it just easier to pretend? I've learned that trust is fragile. And sometimes, people we love can surprise us in the worst ways. But I've also learned something else. Pain doesn't have to define you. You can choose to heal. To rebuild. To find peace inside yourself again. I don't know what the future holds. But I know this. I will never let someone else's betrayal steal my happiness again. If you're going through something similar, remember, you are not alone. And sometimes, the hardest thing to do is to walk away. But it's the bravest.